Canada housing crisis explained. Canada is facing a severe housing crisis marked by skyrocketing prices, increased household debt, and challenges with affordability. Since the financial crisis of 2008, housing prices have surged by 80% across the country, with cities like Vancouver and Toronto seeing price hikes of over 100%. The crisis highlights a stark disparity in housing wealth distribution, with the wealthiest 20% of Canadian households holding 63% of the total real estate net worth, whereas the bottom 40% possess a mere 2%. In today's video, our focal topic, Canada Housing Crisis Explained, will shed more light on this worrisome situation. As we proceed, please stay tuned and watch until the end. Why homeowners are hiking housing prices. Let us begin our discussion with this critical factor on why there is a housing crisis in Canada. In Canada, homeowners play a role in the increase in housing prices due to several factors. A major contributor is the high number of investment properties, as more investors buy homes, often leaving them empty or renting them out. This situation can increase prices in specific market segments and create a chain reaction affecting other property types. Additionally, foreign investments, sometimes linked to money laundering through real estate deals via shell companies, have also driven up prices in key cities like Vancouver and Toronto. These trends have made it tougher for first-time buyers to enter the market as they encounter greater competition and higher costs. Furthermore, the imbalance between demand and supply in the housing market, along with limited new construction and strong demand, has worsened the situation. Despite these hurdles, some homeowners are open to seeing home values decrease to enhance affordability for others, with a Nanos poll showing that 70% of participants would be pleased or somewhat pleased to witness a drop in home prices. Nonetheless, the Canadian government has taken steps like implementing stress tests for mortgages to tackle the housing crisis, but these measures have also affected sales and affordability. As we look towards mid-2025, the housing market continues to be at risk, with signs of overbuilding, high rental vacancy rates, and immigrants taking the blame as the people responsible for the housing crisis in Canada. Are they really responsible? Stay tuned as our discussion continues in a moment. What the immigrants have to say about the Canadian housing crisis. Many immigrants in Canada feel unjustly accused of causing the housing crisis, with 54% believing they are unfairly held accountable for an issue they did not create. This sentiment is powerful among renters, younger immigrants, those who have lived in Canada for less than 6 years, and BIPOC individuals. Furthermore, almost 70% of new Canadians feel that politicians are using immigration as a distraction from other significant factors affecting the availability of affordable housing, such as government policies and economic conditions. Housing experts also contend that blaming immigration for the housing crisis is a misstep that reveals underlying racism rather than addressing the urgent need for more housing. Their claims appear not far from the truth, as Canadian politicians have opined that tackling the Canadian housing crisis involves a mix of immigration reform and a massive nationwide construction initiative. However, Paul Kershaw, a public policy professor at the University of British Columbia and founder of the affordability advocacy group Generation Squeeze, argues that the focus on boosting housing supply overlooks a critical issue that politicians often shy away from discussing. Specifically, he stated that Canada has developed a dependency on continually increasing home prices, primarily because Canadians have been conditioned to view their homes as financial investments. According to Kershaw, there are several actions people need to take to lower prices, and increasing supply is one of them. Furthermore, he stated that funding announcements for construction projects serve as a way to channel concerns about the housing system without forcing longtime homeowners to confront their entanglements in the issue. He emphasizes that the current system encourages profit extraction from real estate instead of ensuring that everyone has access to affordable housing. We need to be clear about our housing goals, Kershaw insists. It must begin with the understanding that we do not want these prices to keep rising. Unfortunately, as the housing prices keep increasing, immigrants who are blamed for the housing crisis are ironically at the receiving end. Our subsequent discussion will shed more light on this. Impact of Canada's housing crisis on immigrants. Canada's image as a friendly destination for newcomers may be jeopardized by the current housing affordability crisis, which is particularly affecting immigrants, according to a survey conducted by Angus Reid. The survey revealed that 28% of Canadians are contemplating leaving their province due to high housing costs, a figure that rises to 39% among those who have lived in Canada for a decade or less. The report noted that as more immigrants pursue the Canadian dream from overseas, many who have arrived in recent years are finding it less of a dream and more of a nightmare. For immigrants who have been in Canada for 11 years or more, 30% are considering leaving their province, which is closer to the national average. The survey, which was conducted in June 2024 with 4,204 Canadians, highlights dissatisfaction that correlates with housing costs in various Canadian cities, while also indicating that a slight majority of respondents remain optimistic about improvements in affordability in the coming years. Home prices in numerous Canadian cities have surged dramatically, and rental vacancy rates have plummeted, prompting economists to warn that the crisis could escalate to even more alarming levels without significant new construction. In 2024, Statistics Canada reported a drop in the citizenship rate among recent immigrants from 75.4% in 1996 to 45.7% in 2021. While some of this decline may be attributed to pandemic restrictions, the agency stated, even after considering the pandemic's impact, the citizenship rate fell at a faster rate from 2016 to 2021 than any other five-year period since 1996. Is there a solution to this unending housing crisis? Keep watching as our discussion, Canada Housing Crisis Explained, continues shortly. Suggested strategies to tackle the housing crisis in Canada. The major federal parties in Canada have different strategies to tackle the housing crisis. The Liberals, under Mark Carney's leadership, aim to construct 500,000 new homes each year through a new agency called Build Canada Homes, which will manage and fund affordable housing projects. In contrast, Pierre Poilievre promotes reducing fees and taxes to stimulate home building. The Liberals are also providing cities with millions to boost housing density, while Poilievre emphasizes lowering regulatory and financial obstacles to new construction. Despite a shared recognition among party leaders of the severe housing crisis affecting political, economic, and social spheres, their proposed solutions diverge significantly. The Liberals' strategy includes tax incentives, shared equity plans, and reduced insurance costs for first-time buyers, which some critics believe may exacerbate the issue. Detractors argue that the crisis is rooted in broader economic challenges, such as the financialization of the economy, where wealth is derived more from asset appreciation than from productive labor. They advocate for more progressive policies and a substantial increase in federal investment in social housing to tackle the crisis effectively. The federal government has also introduced a GST rebate for apartment construction, though its effectiveness is questioned. For instance, Quebec has opted against this strategy, choosing instead to invest in public housing, cooperatives, and non-profit housing. There is a growing demand for a unified approach among all government levels, as Canada is currently falling short of the 3.5 million homes needed to restore affordability by 2030. The Federal Housing Agency has proposed a Team Canada strategy to confront the crisis effectively. Will the project be successful? More on the discussion. Canada Housing Crisis Explained will continue shortly. Government actions on the housing crisis in Canada. The Canadian government is taking various steps to tackle its housing crisis, drawing on strategies from the post-World War II period and organizing a national summit to engage housing stakeholders. The government aims to reintroduce a method of using pre-approved designs for rapid and cost-effective home construction, reminiscent of the post-war strategy. Furthermore, the proposed national summit will focus on gathering actionable solutions from housing stakeholders who will commit to providing quarterly updates on their progress. Additionally, federal funding has seen a significant boost, with an extra $9 billion allocated to housing in 2023 compared to 2013-14, facilitating record housing starts in cities such as Toronto and Vancouver. Furthermore, the Canadian government has introduced a ban on foreign investors buying residential properties, which will remain in effect until January 1, 2027. In addition, the government is also putting money into the Housing Accelerator Fund and the Building Faster Fund to encourage municipalities to speed up housing developments. Moreover, the government is committed to eradicating chronic homelessness in Canada and increasing the availability of affordable housing for students, seniors, individuals with disabilities, and marginalized communities. While these strategies appear feasible, all fingers are crossed as Canadian residents patiently await what the future holds. Will the housing crisis in Canada become a thing of the past? As we end this video, we look forward to your contribution in the comments section. Please join the conversation and keep it going. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell.